Welcome back, everyone. Today, I am going to be talking to you a little bit about what my journey and some of the things that helped me on it. And I know you're usually here for Agile games and Agile learning, and I usually have people reach out to me on LinkedIn or what have you, and they ask me, "Hey, I know you didn't come from like a developer background or a technical background, well, somewhat technical, but what did you do to transition to a career to become a scrum master? How did you accomplish that?" And so I am currently working as a scrum master, and but before this, actually, I worked for as a scrum master for around 2 or 3 months, and then when COVID hit, I got laid off. I was completely what's the word, destroyed. I had just gotten my dream job, and it was pretty amazing, and then I didn't have it anymore. And I'd worked years to kind of go that direction and try to transition. And I was extremely didn't know what to do. I found myself in the mortgage industry, trying to make a change, try something different, but all the while really still wanting to become a scrum master. And so I was applying, I wasn't hearing anything back. COVID hit, everything was different. And of course, experience was all the more needed when you're trying to become a scrum master at that point, because everything went remote. And so it just took, I guess, more time to build trust remotely for scrum masters. But regardless, I ended up finding myself being recommended to Nada here. And welcome, Nada. Just want to introduce people to you. If you want to unmute and say hi.
Hi, everyone. So happy to be here.
Thanks. But Nada was recommended to me by a good friend, I believe Tim, who was being a mentor to me at the time, as well as many other people. And thank you, by the way, for those who know you who you are. And I went through this program with Nada. I was about to give up becoming a scrum master. I was just like, this is my last straw. I need help. I need polishing. And so I found myself recommending her in many different chats and so forth. And so I really wanted to create a video and bring her on and show her off to you all. It's kind of like my secret weapon in a sense. So you're getting to see that. But Nada helped me so much when it came to preparing the structure of my responses for my interview questions. She has an interview boot camp that you might hear about in a second. She also gave me the tools and helped coach me. And this is with true coaching experience. Like, she doesn't do things for you. She leads you to the water and helps you to understand how to get stronger yourself. And I think she's an amazing coach in that way, and something that I still try to imitate to this day. Um, and also the community she is building is bar none. But we're going to talk about all these things. I want her to tell you rather than me, but I wanted to bring her on and show you Nada. So hey Nada.
Oh my goodness, James, you're really making me blush. You're too kind.
No, I really do appreciate all that you've done for me. And I want my viewers to know uh the person who helped me and kind of help that interview side of me to really help me acquire the position. So I want them to know what you do. So I know your services. I took Nada's different services. It was the career transformation program, I believe. And that was about almost a year ago now. And I know her services have changed a bit. She has some different offerings. And so I wanted to again let you hear from her what she has, and then we might even have some discounts for you. So stick around. But Nada, how are you doing? How has it been since?
Well, it's been a very wild, roller coaster for me. And it's funny because my journey mirrors a lot of my clients' journeys where I actually transitioned into being a career coach, never had the title, never officially did the role in my life. And here I am, helping people transition into roles where they've never had the title or never had the exact or direct experience. So as I've been going through my journey, my program has iterated so many times. I guess that is the agile coach in me who loves to, iterate and follows, the test approach. Been very blessed to have more than 116, I guess it's 120 when I looked at the number today, 120 people as part of my community in less than 2 years. And it's been wonderful. My clients, in a way, have helped me create the curriculum and have helped me create the teachings because they've been amazing, just like you, James, and being transparent about what has worked for them, what hasn't worked for them. And that's really how it's been.
Awesome. Well, there's really so much to talk about. I want to get to your services, but again, I wanted to thank you for helping giving me the tools and help to polish me. And I know that other people are out there, like if you're going through career transition, and if you're anything like me, like I'm not good at selling myself. You may say, hey, you have a YouTube channel, you're doing this. I put myself out there or whatever, come what may, and thank God for video editing, right? Because I've already made a few cuts that you're not going to see here. But it's hard because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what people won't tell you in the interviews, and you're trying to figure out, how do you stand out, how do you be different? And so I really recommend Nada for that interview training portion. And so let's just focus on that for a second. What do you have going on? Because I know things have changed. You also it seems like there's a lot more videos now than when I was in it, because it was a lot of one-on-one time with you, because you didn't have that before. So what are you doing to help train people for interviews?
Yeah, so I realized that one of the biggest struggles that people face when it comes to interviews is the stage fright. I think a lot of us go through that. And I believe, at least personally, what I've been through and what I've noticed with a lot of people is there is that humongous imposter syndrome going on for us, where we feel that maybe we're not good enough just because we didn't do the exact role. Um, and then it becomes extremely difficult to create that link between all of the things that we've done that may relate to where we want to get to. So that is something that I dialed in, and I created what I call the doctor framework technique, because especially if you are wanting to be an agile coach or a scrum master, you want to get into that mindset where you're coming in as a trusted advisor.
Mhm.
So a lot of us, the big mistake that we do is we feel like we have to sell ourselves too hard. And oh my God, I have all these certifications. I'm awesome at what I do. I'm a great coach. I love this. I'm passionate about that. And that doesn't really help. I mean, have you ever gotten one of those in-mails on LinkedIn where you get some kind of promotion, someone reaches out to you and automatically they talk about their services and how amazing they are? I mean, your gut reaction is going to be like, don't sell me on anything, right?
Archive, delete, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the same sort of thing that happens in interviews. When you're going in an interview and an employer, a potential employer, asks you a question and you go into sales mode versus try to understand the problem that they're trying to solve and come up with a story that shows them how you've solved the problem, like a case study, that makes them more interested in leaning in and listening more.
Mhm.
So I spent a lot of time developing this framework, and throughout my own journey as an entrepreneur, studying a lot of methods in terms of how we sell ourselves as organizations, as brands, as entrepreneurs, as coaches, I found that the hero journey is an incredible way to basically tell your story and convince people of your value. Donald Miller wrote a book called Business Made Simple, and his approach is to consider your customer as the hero and you're
Hmm.
the guide. So I leveraged that concept and related it to what basically job seekers go through and what coaches go through, considering their hiring manager, their teams as the heroes and themselves as the guides. So once I used this approach, it just, slashed the imposter syndrome for a lot of people, because now the spotlight is not so much on them when they tell their story, and it's more on who they want to help and how they've helped people in the past.
Awesome. And yeah, I appreciated that training for sure. It's something I still kind of look back to this day because, it's all about the teams and you're just there to help, right? So it's like, what are we going to do? What do you want to do with this information that I'm trying to reflect back to you? And so, and I wanted to, speaking of imposter syndrome, it's something that I still struggle with to this day because I finally landed with nadas and many with a few mentors help and leads and so forth, which I'm very grateful for everyone for. Always get mentors. Look at my other video if you're looking for career transition advice. I'll put the links to what I'm going to give you today in there as well, probably. But I landed at this great company. I won't say its name because actually they have a very strict social media policy, and I always want to be on the right side of it. But if anyone reaches out to me, I'll be happy to tell you, where I work and what's going on and so forth as best I can, and I have time to do. But I'm extremely happy where I've been. I've been there for about since February 14th, actually. So it's kind of me and this company kind of fell in love. It's Valentine's Day, is kind of how I always put it. But it's been great. And I just want to make sure I am making a career, transition video, but I'm also very happy where I'm at. I want to make sure my employers know. But that being said, it won't show on my LinkedIn is also why I'm saying it, because of for that purposes and the social media aspect of it. But I really appreciated the going through that training about the hero's journey. And it does, putting yourself on lifting other people up is just a really great habit to get into, because it takes our society can be, with social media and everything, can be very narcissistic as I sit here creating a video. But it is what it is. And lifting other people up is a great habit to have, and it's something that I try to do more and more each day. But when it comes to Nada's services, I also know that she helped me with my resume, and she helped me with, and are you still doing the resume help portion, or?
Yeah. So the way, I walk all of my clients, through their journey is the first thing. The first pillar is defining your purpose. A huge mistake that people make is they just go and they apply for a ton of jobs, not knowing what they want. And sometimes they do know what they want, but even in the world of Scrum Master and Agile coaching, there are different specializations. Some people are more on the technical side, others are non-technical at all. If you go into Lisa Atkins, framework, Agile competency framework, you'll see that there is the technical mastery. So traditionally, people who come from a development background tend to go that path. And then there are people who are stronger on the business side of things, on the people side of things. So that's the business, mastery. And then the third one is the transformation, people who are really great at creating change and navigating change. So knowing some of these things is very important, because it helps you zone into what type of Scrum Master you want to be. And it'll help you appreciate the different types of job postings out there and realize, what, maybe this role is not the right fit for me, and I'm not going to waste time going after it. So once we dial in on what that sweet spot is based on, each person's personality, not just their skills, because it's important that when you go about your day-to-day at work, that you bring in your authentic self, and you're not just trying to basically do something that doesn't align with who you are as a person. I have people who are maybe introverted, or people who put a lot of importance into status or power or creativity. So depending on that, we figure out what that sweet spot is, and then we map it into an actual role that's out there. Once we do that, then we start what we call the branding phase. And I call that expressing your purpose. So we've defined our purpose, and now we have to express our purpose. And as we express our purpose, there are different tools in terms of doing the branding. Think marketing campaign. I mean, some organizations do better at advertising in certain channels. Some don't, so we find the best way to basically brand you. One of them obviously is your resume. Another one is LinkedIn. So we go through all of that, we build a marketing campaign, and really the goal is to bring in eyeballs to you,
Hmm.
traffic, generate a lot of leads so that you can get interviews and start conversations with people. And then the third pillar is selling your purpose. So that usually happens in interviews where you are trying to, that is the last step basically to convert into an offer. The interview stage is something that a lot of people fear. And there's a lot of workshops that I hold and where we simulate a true interview environment and get people to work on their stories, share them, mock their interviews as well. So
And
that's really the high level of how my program works. There's a lot of stuff also that goes into it in terms of mindset. There's the community aspect, which is amazing because people get surrounded by like-minded people. At the end of the day, this is not a mechanical process. We're dealing with emotions, human beings, rejection, building relationships.
mhm.
And it's important to have that support system as you're navigating the ups and downs.
Yeah, I think that I've never seen a job search community or that has been so giving, um, so tight knit. And I think that what Not is created is not just like a meetup. It's not just um there is a difference in people that help each other out here that I've not seen in other communities trying to be built. And so the people that are in the community are committed to being in the community and being a part of it and helping each other, which I think is amazing. And of course, it's having, to rely on other people and other people's perspective. When you pay for other services, you can just get one person's perspective, which is great at times. And not of all the people, she was an agile coach, was one of the reasons that I was interested in her services, because she knows how to get me to where I want to go. And she's a career coach. So I was like, well, 1 + 1 = 2 here, like logically, right? But it was her community that I think, and their goals and what they were going through, that I could relate to and empathize with, and that gave me the continued hope to continue to persevere, to even try. So I shout out to all of them as well, if you're seeing this, because I'm grateful to all of you as well. I still pop in from time to time just to see if I can help and throw any leads out there that I can.
What do you think was the most challenging part for it of it for you, like going through this career transition?
For me, I was trying to, again, I was really down about what I thought I should shot my shot essentially and lost. Like I took my best shot at being a scrum master, and I thought that, maybe that was it. It wasn't just meant to be. And I was really wrestling with that thought, as well as really desiring the things that position does to help. I really found myself having strengths in. So I really didn't know how to use those any other way. And so I talked to you about some different opportunities, and Nada really does try to help you find, again, the thing that's going to, not just the thing you think you want, but the thing in your different skills that are going to really make you happy in your job. Like you have a term for it. I'm forgetting off the top of my head.
Yeah, I
Uh,
call it your sweet spot. That's like your value proposition. I mean, it's kind of interesting because I use a lot of the design thinking and products, management sort of techniques in the way we build products, and I bring them into how people navigate their careers. I think a lot of us, either we've been influenced by, noise that's around us, thinking that, oh, this is the right decision for me. Or sometimes we go through a toxic environment and it sort of blurs our vision because of that one horrible experience. We
mhm.
start thinking that all of the jobs are going to be that way and we're going to fail. So there's a lot of exercises we do. And I even leverage some agile exercises that I used to use with my team in retrospectives. One of them is the moving motivators, where we take a look at your intrinsic motivators, whether it's your desire for more power, more autonomy in your job. And if that hasn't been met, then we need to understand why. And is it because of the roles that you've been doing, or is it because of the environment? Or is this job that you've been doing all this time the right fit for you? I get sometimes people who come to me really fixated on wanting to be a Scrum Master. And in fact, I have a story about that.
If I was raising my
Um,
hand, I was one of them. So
I mean, you made the right decision. But I've had, another situation where someone else, initially came in really wanting to be a Scrum Master. And then she changed her mind after she learned about other opportunities out there.
Mhm.
One of my clients, Renee, she heard my talk at the Scrum Alliance, and she was happy to find me because her dream was to be a Scrum Master. She was working at an organization that is health oriented, working with a lot of teams. Her organization went through a transformation during the pandemic, where things went from being 100% on site to hybrid.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of agility that she brought in order to execute that. But as we looked through her experiences and looked at what's out there, we realized that she would be better off. And what she actually loved about being Scrum Master is more about engaging people. That was her primary focus. That was the big reason why she went after Scrum Master. So when we found other roles that fulfilled that, all of a sudden, it didn't matter. It didn't have to be Scrum Master, especially when she did not have that experience working in a software development team building digital products.
Mhm.
Um, so these are just examples of, what happens when we sort of do a little bit more self-reflection and have information that we may not have had before, to pick the job that is best for us.
Yeah, the going and trying to find, especially when you're not happy where you're at, like I've been there. I understand the pressure. They're like, man, if I can just get out of here and the grass looks greener and anywhere else, that kind of mindset. The for trying to you're not really focusing on what your ideal job is, what motivates you, all those things. So not as coaching to be able to help you step back and really realize those things, ask some questions, put you through some quizzes. The things that at least I went through were extremely helpful to me. And I know again, things look a little bit different today with some of the videos and different things you've used to help uh, streamline that system, which of course we do as, Scrum Masters and lean practitioners and so forth. So it's, I really do think that, again, this is something that's very awesome that you have the opportunity to go through. And again, I can just lead you to water. I can't make you drink. I can't tell you to put in the time to take the coaching to do the things, but I really do believe this is one of the things that help polish me and that help make me better for the job that I currently have, and that helps make me successful on a daily basis with the job I currently have. And I know that if I ever have any questions, I can fall back to the people and the relationships I built in that community that I'm still connected with to this day. I don't follow up as much, but I know that I could if I needed to. But Nada, let's. I think I've probably talked your services up enough. I'll let you hand over to you.
Sure. Um, what I wanted to share was, going through my 15 years of working in the corporate world, the reason I created this program, and if you asked me 2 years ago or even 3 years ago if I even would have considered being a career coach or creating this program, I would have just laughed at you and would have been like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
And I think the pivotal moment for me was basically when, sadly, I quit over text in one of my roles as an agile coach. That is because I was working on a large program, multi-million dollars. I had taken the day off to get my driver's license. And I came back, sitting in a meeting room, no one was around, and wondering what the heck was going on, where my team was. And later I find out that the engagement lead on the program decided to reschedule my meeting, do all kinds of things without even talking to me about it.
Wow.
And at that point, I felt so disrespected. And it was just a lot of baggage, accumulated stuff, and a lot of toxicity that led me to the moment where I was just like, enough. I am done. I don't want to do this. And when that happened, I went through a deep depression where I started questioning my abilities as an Agile coach. And I had a lot of imposter syndrome. I was thinking to myself, am I such a terrible influencer that I can't influence leadership? Do my teams hate me? And that wasn't the case. It was ridiculous because my teams loved me. They, to this day, you know, they'd write me sweet things about things that they remembered and retrospectives that I did and aha moments. But when you go through something like that, it makes you question, right? If what you've been doing is something that you even enjoyed. So the weird thing about it is I did, realize that I love helping people. And one of my big values and drivers to doing what I do is I want to empower people to take control of their career rather than let organizations determine it for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I decided to become a career coach, because I thought that was an avenue that I could go into. At the time, I was working with a career coach, and I figured, as someone who already knows what she's talking about, and I became her apprentice, and that was an amazing opportunity with her being on the Forbes Coaches Council, getting the structured training. I figured that was an avenue I could definitely get into in order to help people take control of their career. Now, the weird thing about this is 6 months into career coaching, I was only doing this one-on-one because I was holding that baggage of, I must have been such a crappy Agile coach that I cannot facilitate sessions. And the idea of facilitating a session scared the crap out of me. So I didn't want to do it for 6 months until one day, I don't know, I just told myself, well, what the heck am I doing? Here I am trying to empower people to go out of their comfort zone. And I've been hiding and running away from this thing that I've been scared of, which is facilitating group sessions. So I launched my first group session in December 2020. And after I was done, I was in awe in terms of the instant friendships that were created after that one session. I was one of my clients who was so blocked, and she was terrified for asking for a promotion, got promoted after that session because the love and support that was given to her by so many people and the realization that she was not alone struggling with this moved her forward. And so when you ask me, what is it that I help people with? It's kind of like asking an artist to tell you what are the step-by-step things that they do in order to create this painting. And I also understand now why people struggle so much describing what they do in an interview, because sometimes it comes so naturally to them that they start getting the imposter syndrome and think, well, if it's so easy for me to do, then I must not be good at it. But the nutshell is, I think it is the empowerment that comes out of this program. It's not so much about do your resume this way and that way, which I do teach people. I do have a method, but I think the big thing is the courage that people get out of this and the ability to own and tell their story. That's really what people end up with at the end of the day. And with that, it empowers them that when they are in an interview setting, when they are, having a conversation with an employer, it empowers them to advocate for themselves and realize their true value. And when you get to that point, then you can achieve anything, in my opinion. I've seen so many miracles in my community. I mean, you're one of my miracles.
Mhm.
Um, Heath, he's another community member who went from being a truck driver to building, his first, game that was featured in Apple, and, landing a job in Portugal.
Mhm.
And my client Rashid, who was in Mexico, um, never even knew what product management was, and went from never working for anyone in his life to landing at Amazon. So that's what people get when they join the community.
Yep. There's definitely some amazing success stories, and I've seen just some really cool offers come out of it that you've helped people to again polish themselves, take on the coaching, go do the work, and achieve those things. So it's definitely possible, and I really do want. I'm interested, and one of the things I was trying to get to is what, because again the services differ from when I was in there, and so I really want to be able to give them a current expectation of, because I could go on about what I experienced all day long, but I know that's changed a little. So what are your offerings now? How has the program changed since I've been out?
Yeah. So one of the big things, and I remember when you were there, James, we had a collaborative session on a Miro board where we gathered, feedback from everyone. And the big thing that came out of it was people definitely need very structured learning.
Hmm.
And they need bite-sized, videos that they can refer to, so that there isn't a lot of, there isn't a huge download of information during one-on-one sessions. So what I ended up doing was I invested more than $30,000. Um, First of all, I interviewed basically most of my clients who landed jobs and had conversations with them in terms of what worked, what didn't work, what was an aha moment, what technique, worked the most. And I basically created scripts for my videos
Mm.
to ensure that everyone gets the same information, that I don't forget conveying information to one person versus the other. So I flew to California, spent 3 days in a studio filming, compelling videos that are bite-sized,
Hmm.
so that people can refer to them anytime. And so that our one-on-one conversations become more fruitful. And it's a teaching style that a lot of instructors follow. It's called a flipped, classroom, basically, method, where you learn the information on your own first, and then you come to the class with questions. Um, so that's the first thing that changed. And there are over, I don't know, 51 videos at this point, 10 different modules, walking you through from identifying your career sweet spot to navigating your career like an entrepreneur, to I don't know, storytelling, to cracking the product case, to cracking, agile, cases, lots and lots of good stuff, how to write your resume, all of that. So that is the big change that happened. The second change that happened is there are now more workshops that are very collaborative and gamifying, learning interviews. You have been in one, which was the interview boot
I think that
camp.
was the first one, the
That was the
inaugural.
first one. That was the first iteration.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that is a more constant thing that's going on in the community. And we also have more basically group sessions in order for people to collaborate, bring in their questions, get to know other people who are going through the same thing they're going through. The third thing that has changed as well is that we now have a podcast that is internal to the community.
Oh, okay.
You will not see it in my YouTube because people who have landed jobs share their stories, very vulnerable stories, where you get to learn exactly what they've gone through, what are the things that they've gone through in order to go through their career transition. So we already have one of my clients, Heath, who shared his story in terms of how he broke into Agile Mentor. My client, Sonia, who went from a traditional architect into breaking into a senior UX designer and breaking into UX after only going through a boot camp and a UX boot camp. And my client, Crystal, who went from, I think, working at the same company for probably over 15 years or something like that.
Wow.
And then landing at, basically, I'm not going to say the name of the company in case her social media restrictions are there, but one of basically the large companies. And becoming an agile, enterprise coach, and, going from not having the title before. So lots of amazing stories, because I truly believe, and I practice what I preach, that people learn better through stories. You need to learn how to tell stories, and how we learn best is by learning about other people's journeys. And of course, the one-on-ones are still there with me, because I truly believe that every person's situation is different. As much as I have pillars, as much as I have, frameworks to help people get to where they need to be, every person's situation is different. We need to customize a strategy that meets people where they are.
Mm-hmm. No, it's really cool. So we have the workshop for the interviews, as of course I'm stumbling with my words, so apparently I need to go back over her stories framework, but I'm trying to remember all this on the fly to make sure I can get it to you in a succinct form or fashion, so bear with me. But the career transition program, that's still going on, right?
Yeah,
And
so there are really two programs that I offer. There's my career transformation. So basically people who want, the whole thing, whatever is needed to help them land a job. It includes working on your interviews, it includes the rebranding, it includes identifying your career sweet spot. And truly, I believe going through these pillars is necessary to help people go through, an up leveling or breaking into a particular field. I've never been in a situation where we only, worked on someone's resume or worked on someone's interview to help them get there. Even when people believe that their resume is amazing, at the end of the day, what blocks people is remembering what they've done and being able to articulate it. So going through all those motions ends up being very important. However, something new that I've created is having the storytelling bootcamp. So this works well for whether, someone wants to sort of just focus on that for a little bit before they go through the big transformation, or even someone who just wants to up level their career and learn how to sell themselves better, come up with great stories. I have used techniques that I've used in my own business in terms of storytelling. If you go on my website, nadabohendi.com/about, you're going to read my origin story. And I will tell you right now that origin story is what got Scrum Alliance to invite me to speak. So
that's how I
this
found you.
technique, that's
Yep.
how you found me. So this technique works for people who even want to, sell their services. And that's how amazing the storytelling bootcamp is you learn how to tell a compelling story that hooks the person into listening to you and wanting to know more about you. And it creates the likability and trust.
Gotcha. And we have a discount for these people, right, who are going to be interested in the boot camp. And just before I get into the discounts, when exactly does that occur, just so people can figure out scheduling in terms of the boot camps?
Yeah, so it usually occurs on Saturdays and Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern to 12 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Right now, we're offering it every weekend. If the schedule changes, then we'll have that, on the landing page. But for now, we are offering it, every weekend. So if you sign up before the next, weekend, basically you're in for, the upcoming date. But if there are questions, I always invite people to, send me a message on LinkedIn if they want to clarify that, and, we can make sure that they understand, what they're getting and when the dates are.
Gotcha. Well, let me go ahead and share my screen. And if you're interested, there will be a little, I'll put it up here a couple different times in case you miss it, but there'll be a little click thing on the screen if you want to click it and go to this website. I do have referrals set up for Nada's services. So you'll obviously be supporting the channel, but again, you are the focus. If you need this help, really want to make sure that that people get it. And let's go ahead and share real quick. This is the, oh, this is not the right one. Here we go. So this is the, whenever you click on the link, that's going to be somewhere over here, there, or in the description below, was probably, the best place to find it if you missed it on this video. This is going to be where you're going to be signing up for the boot camps, right? So you'll just go here, join the webinar. I guess there's like 3 different buttons you could click on, but you can of course find more information here. And this will, so it's a 2-hour boot camp where people can come in and you give them the understanding of the interview process, or tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so this free training is about 30 minutes. And what it does, it actually gives you a lot of valuable information on how to create your origin story. Um, let's say, what made you decide to become a Scrum Master, etc. Right?
Mhm.
So when you watch that webinar, it'll help you understand the mistakes that you've been making, and give you a lot of valuable tips around the anatomy of the perfect, story. And after you watch it, you will also get a breakdown on what happens in day 1 and day 2 of the boot camp. But just at a high level, quickly, the boot camp it takes place over 2 days. I break it down into 2 days because it's just a lot of information
Mhm.
for people in one day. The point of the boot camp is for people to come out of it with a tangible, story that they've created during the boot camp. So day 1 is a little bit of basically teaching you the step-by-step on how to create the story, as well as putting you into breakout rooms with other people to choose, the right story for you and to craft that story. And then in day 2, what happens is you start practicing your delivery, because a lot of people also have trouble speaking in a compelling way. So you get feedback on that by mocking your story and practicing it. And they call it the peanut butter sandwich technique, which is kind of funny, but the
It
concept
works.
behind it is, you practice your tone, you practice your pacing, you practice your body language. And yeah, that's pretty much what takes place, as well as people get access to the Slack just for the duration of the boot camp, where they can post their stories and get direct feedback from me.
Awesome. Well, then again, that is one opportunity that is there, and then there's also you've given of your time to be able to do also a career diagnosis, or a free 20-minute talk to you kind of a session, I guess. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, so I'll tell you right now, there were moments in my career where I really felt like I needed to talk to someone, and that was an option that was not widely available for free with a professional. And so my hopes are, if someone, feels stuck, if someone doesn't know if they're doing the right things, maybe they keep going into interviews and they keep getting rejected and they don't get feedback and have no idea what they're doing wrong, or maybe they're not sure if they're applying for the right jobs, or maybe they are a new Scrum Master and they're dealing
Mhm.
with a situation where they're terrified, in terms of whether they're doing their job correctly or not. I'm offering what this 20 minute free one-on-one coaching session to give people the space to share what's going on for them and give them clarity to arrive at what could they do differently, basically. Yeah, so that's really my intention behind it. And if they feel that they need additional help, then sure, we can talk about possibilities of working together. But it's very important that whoever I end up working with is definitely a fit for the community, because I love keeping, the integrity of the community. And it's also important that my coaching style aligns with each person's style.
Mhm.
So the intention of this, free career diagnosis is to basically help people identify, things that they could do differently to achieve their goals.
Gotcha. Well, those links will be in the description, but I wanted to make sure, people have an idea of where your services are at, as well as, I really appreciate you being able to offer, that free help to people and making sure that's scheduled in, because I know you're extremely giving, and it's something I've always appreciated about you. The, um, again, I cannot say this enough. I recommend Nada to every person that I meet, as an option. And I think that, each person's journey is a bit different. They're at different stages, they're at different phases. And there's just a lot to the job search, especially as the times change and things keep and for me, having someone that was not only in an agile coach position, I wanted that combination. And so Nada meets that specific combination. She's a gem that I found in the rough of the job search field that I believe helped me in a great way. And I wanted to make sure that the community knew about it. I had a little bit of imposter syndrome not bringing her up sooner, if I'm completely honest, because, I always want to make sure that I'm good and that whatever I'm doing, that I'm able to, to stand on it in a way that, builds trust with you all. And I've put her recommendations, her advice to the test, and it has helped me where I'm at in many ways. And again, I just wanted to share that. If you have any questions, you can reach out in the comments below. I'm happy to answer, or you can hit me up on LinkedIn, as many people do. I'm happy to help when and where I can. There's a few people that I think would attest to that. And I've seen a few people I think might have reached out to Nada. I'm not sure. But if not, this is the video I'll be directing them to now as I talk about it and she talks about her services. Before we end up today, Nada, is there anything else you want to share with the community or?
Sure. Yeah. First of all, James, thank you so much for inviting me to be your guest. I've always been a big fan and advocate of you doing this YouTube channel, because you truly have a gift of, presenting information and teaching people.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
So
I'm
proud
still
of you.
perfecting it, as many people know, but yes.
There's the imposter syndrome.
Yeah, sorry.
But I'm so proud of you of landing that job and advocating for yourself. And it does take a village to help people land jobs. That's something that I wanted to end with. Every single one of my clients, they have been able to go out of their comfort zone. They went for it. They had grit. And I don't have a magic wand.
Mm-hmm.
And I always encourage people to not rely on just one thing, right? Even though in my community, we try to, look at the job search and the imposter syndrome and breaking into, a career from different angles, I also do encourage people to work with additional mentors, to go to meetups.
Mm-hmm.
And those are usually the people who are successful, rather than relying on one person or expecting that the person is going to do the work for them. Because as future Scrum masters, that's what you're going to do for your teams, right? You don't want to create some kind of codependency on you. You want to give them the tools so that they learn how to fish. And you want to also encourage them to look at other resources as well.
Yep. Absolutely. I think that, you challenged me in so many ways to do the work and to really look inside myself for a lot of the answers. And you gave me tools, you gave me coaching. And I think that that's the biggest thing. Is it can be a lot of work to really to figure out where your gaps are. And, just as in business, sometimes it takes work to get the analytics, as I'm sure some of you know. To just getting the numbers out of a system should be easier than it is sometimes. But the the work that you do in, I believe, Nada's program genuinely helps you to grow. And I don't think, I don't think there is anyone silver bullet, but Nada is definitely a secret weapon that I don't want to keep secret anymore. And I do recommend to people who ask me one-on-one. So I wanted to make sure to make this video. We will be doing a live stream where you can come and ask Nada questions, and yeah, whether it be about career stuff. So it's a little bit longer than, I guess, the 20-minute thing, but we will have probably many people, jumping on and asking. So just keep that in mind. But that information will either be in the description below whenever we schedule it, or it will come out on a post on my YouTube channel. And I'll also post it on my LinkedIn. So make sure to follow me there, and make sure I'll put Nada's information in the description below so you can connect with her as well. But of course, make sure to like, share, subscribe so you can get all that information and more. I'll try to bring y'all my best tips and tricks, because I know that the career transition, become a Scrum Master, is a lot of, when people find out what this position is, a lot of people really aspire to it for a gross amount of reasons, or not a gross isn't a word, a lot of reasons is what I'm trying to say, a lot of reasons. And it's a very caring position where you're trying to take care of your team all the time. And that's very admirable to a lot of people. And I know that's something people want to do. And I want people to be able to make that transition. I hope this video has helped you. And thank you so much, Nada, for being here. And I know I've rambled a bit, but thank you so much for your time and just coming on so I can share you with the community.
Thank you, James. I appreciate it.
Thanks. We'll see you guys next time. I'm James, and this is Nada, and we're out.